Hello, Judith.
Hello.
I'm here together with you in Davos. You are leading BCG's Global CEO Advisory Team. Thanks a lot for making the time.
Thanks for having me.
Let me quickly ask you, what are your main takeaways from Davos so far?
Look, I think this year for me, Davos feels a bit like the final dawn of a new era. We've talked about geopolitics moving from cooperation to more competition, world trade moving from integrated to more fragmented for a long time. I think this week, where this coincides with the start of a new US administration, has brought this home to every CEO here. That's the new normal. I still found the discussions here optimistic and practical, very much focused on what does this now really mean for business leaders? How do we compete? If trade is more in economic blocks, where do we really excel at? And for Europe specifically, how does that drive a really innovative industrial policy? But also practical questions on how do we extract value from AI? How do we build a really strong geopolitical muscle to prepare our companies for increased volatility? Those were some of the really practical things I felt leaders were really grappling with.
A wonderful summary. It resonates very well with me, Judith. Thanks so much. Now, taking a quick view on the CEO advisory, what are the key elements that is part of those programs?
At the core, we aim to do three things and offer those to CEOs. One is individual programs. We do those primarily for CEO candidates in a formal board process. For new CEOs who are at the start of a new tenure and really need to take time and want to take time to reflect on what defines success for them very personally. And also for what we call next generation CEOs, leaders who are probably 2 to 4 years from their first CEO position and would really like to reflect what it takes. So that's the core. We delivered a bit more than 200 of these programs last year. And then we saw another 450, 500 CEOs in what we call CEO learning communities. Those are both face-to-face and virtually. And it's really getting a like-minded group of 12, 15 CEOs together on an agenda of shared interest. It's not a BCG show, it's really learning from each other. And then thirdly, we invest in research of topics that are relevant for CEO performance. Where do CEOs spend their time on? What's the role and profile of a great chief of staff? So that's what we do.
Yeah, and learning from each other, from CEO to CEO, I guess. Yeah. And if you have to pinpoint the one thing that CEOs are mostly appreciative of?
I believe it's really that idea of taking time to reflect out of very fragmented, crowded calendars where they always feel they're running. I also think it's this fact that it's about themselves and really that reflection on what makes them successful, what gives them energy, not only about the business. And then lastly, it's the complete confidentiality, right? A safe space that they can really reflect also on the hard things and not be on a stage.
And do you see, now most of what the work that we are doing or that you are leading is in the private sector. Do you see also demand coming in from the public sector?
We've served CEOs in the public sector in very different shapes and forms. So CEOs of state-owned companies, CEOs of NGOs and other international organizations, or partly also CEOs or directors of federal agencies or state agencies. And I think part of their challenges are obviously different. They deal with a stakeholder environment that's usually a lot more sophisticated and complex. But a lot of the challenges in terms of what's my narrative for where I would like to take the organization? What is a really high-performing leadership team? Where would I like to evolve the culture of the organization? I think these are universal, and that's what CEOs in the public sector appreciate as well.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for sharing your insights, and I wish you a wonderful, successful last day here at Davos. Thank you.
Same to you. Thank you.